So good evening, everybody, candidates, live audience, and those watching from home. Welcome to the 2021 Edgewood Candidates Forum. I'm Linda Burke, the Executive Director for the Greater East Mountain Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, I'm Leota Harriman. I'm the editor and publisher of the independent newspaper here in Edgewood.
And we are the organizers of tonight's events as well as the co-moderators for tonight. So before we start, just a few housekeeping reminders. This is a nonpartisan forum and it's being live streamed and video recorded. Thank you to Ryan Penfold with Penfold Live. He's handling all our technology tonight. In accordance with state regulations for indoor events, masks are required. The restrooms are out in the lobby if you need that, and there are emergency exits over there, and the one that you came through. And if you still would like to submit questions, you can do so on the index cards in the back. And please do remember to silence your cell phones.
Thank you. This is an informational candidate forum intended to help voters learn about the candidates' positions on local issues and their vision for Edgewood. We're asking that the audience please be courteous, refrain from clapping, cheering, booing, or any other disruptive behavior. The candidates have come here tonight to share their ideas and their perspectives with you, and our expectation is that they're treated with the respect that they deserve. We're also asking that the audience and the candidates be respectful of one another. This is a small town, we're neighbors, and we want to keep this friendly. I would like to add one more little thing, which is to please be respectful of the time, because we have a lot of candidates, we have a ton of questions. We want to keep it rolling along as quickly as we can so that everybody has a chance to be heard. So we have the candidates seated here in district and ballot order. Yes, so District 1 here at the end down to District 5. We have a map of the districts behind you if you're wondering which district you live in. There's a map behind the candidates. There's another one in the lobby that you can look at. And let me turn it back over to you for
Okay, so here are the general ground rules for the forum. This is the Q&A portion of tonight's event. We received many questions from the public in advance, but no questions were shared with any of the candidates prior to tonight. This will be the first time that they hear your questions. The audience can continue to submit questions up until about 7 o'clock in the back. And the moderators have and will review all of the questions to eliminate duplicates and to take out anything that might be inappropriate or targeted to just a specific candidate. We've tried to generalize it to apply to everybody. Okay, candidates will each have 1 minute to introduce themselves. They will also then start through a series of questions with prescribed amounts of time to answer. Most will be 30 seconds answer time, and we'll have some that are 1 minute. And then they'll have the opportunity to wrap it up at the end with their closing statements. Following the forum session, the candidates will be available to answer your individual questions, and in case yours wasn't asked. And we just ask that you be respectful of them and their time and allow them to meet with as many people as possible while they're here. So, let's get started.
One of the audience says the sound is terrible. Terrible, I can't quite hear what you were saying.
Did you not hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
But in the back.
I work in the front row.
Okay. Echo.
All right, so we're going to begin with candidates' opening statements, your opportunity to learn about them. One candidate you may notice is not here tonight, Sterling Donner from District 5. When we had to reschedule, he had a pre-existing business trip and was not able to be here tonight. But we did ask him if he would like to send an opening statement, which he did, and I'll read that. Hello, everyone. I apologize that I was unable to make it tonight. With the rescheduling of the forum, I had prior commitments out of town and have kept me from being there with you all. This election is extremely important for so many reasons. This is the beginning of something new for the town of Edgewood, a reset from the broken, corrupt government. If I am able to earn your vote, just know that I will put the people of Edgewood first. I'm not running for personal gain like so many before me, including the disgraced former mayor. I'm running for the future of the town. I have 2 young boys who I want to see grow and love their hometown. They deserve a place worthy of calling home. I'm running to be sure that the people of Edgewood have a voice. I'm running because I'm going to continue complaining about the problems, but do nothing, then I am part of the solution. Part of the problem, sorry. I love this town and the people in it. I will fight for you and give the voice you have been lacking for the past 5 years. Thank you, Sterling Donner, Commission Candidate in District 5.
All right, so moving on to Kenneth Brennan. If you would take a minute to introduce yourself, please.
My name's Ken Brennan, and thank you for hosting this event, and everybody, I appreciate you coming out here. A little bit about myself. My family moved out to New Mexico back in 1975 from Massachusetts. I graduated from Cibola High School, class of 79. After graduation, I joined the military, where I spent 20 years and retired as a Chief Petty Officer. When I left military service, I started working in the civilian sector for a company owned by General Electric, working on industrial gas turbines and wind turbines. In 2015, I was promoted to Resource Service Manager, where I manage crews that work on wind turbines throughout the United States and abroad. We moved out here to Edgewood about 12 years ago. We came out here because it was wide open space, friendly people, and it's a great atmosphere. And I am running for commissioner so that I can help foster that same feeling and continue it on to the future, so everybody has a vital stake in this town. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm grinding my gears over here. We'll put the same question to Ralph Hill.
Okay, thank you, Leota. Thank you, Linda. I've probably been here one of the longest besides John Bassett, but I grew up in Albuquerque more. We had our farms out here, and my grandfather homesteaded here in 1908. But I've always been following Edgewood. Several of us got together one time to incorporate Chuck Ring, and several others. But the 2 main key cogs were Larry Keaty and Max Hill, my cousin. They really incorporated this town. It was a real struggle. I've always wanted to see the town grow and grow in a smart manner, not just overly protected. But that's. I started Jelly Hills, then helped start the Tea Party, the Sandia Tea Party. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ralph. Next, the same question to Jerry Powers.
Good evening. I'm Jerry Powers. I was born in New Mexico. I've lived out here for about the last 26 years or so on a farm east of here until about 4 years ago. Moved into Edgewood to downsize, retire. I'm a home builder. I've been a home builder for the last 25, 30 years. And so I bring expertise in construction in terms of road construction. I'm also licensed for roads and bridges. I wanted to retire here, and I envisioned fishing and having a good time and working on my bucket list. But when I was made aware by some of my friends that are here tonight about the problems in Town Hall, I joined the local citizens group to try to turn that around. And now no one stepped up from my district in order to run, so I thought I didn't want to see all that work go to waste. I've worked harder in the last 2 years than I have during my career. But I want to see that and make that count. I want government to be returned to the people, to be listened to, and do the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Same question to you, Audrey Jaramillo.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Audrey Jaramillo. I grew up most of my life in the East Mountains and here in Edgewood since 7th grade. I've served in the community for a very long time on an individual basis and through various nonprofits and churches as well. I was on the board of Moriarty Edgewood School District for 12 years. I have a woman-owned small business, a CPA firm, that I absolutely love and enjoy and audit governmental entities through there. I've had 3.5 years on council. Just wanted to say that I'm a Christian. I believe that everyone is given gifts and we're responsible for those gifts to use them to serve others and do our best to do God's will. And I'm here, as cheesy as it sounds, to be a voice for the people of you, for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. Same question for you, Phil Anaya.
Hi, my name is Philandro Anaya, Philandro R. Anaya. The majority of people out here know me as Phil. I've lived here in the East Mountains my entire life. I'm probably one of the oldest ones up here and the longest living ones here for the East Mountain, except for Ralph. I've been here longer than John even. I've been married for 30 plus years, 30, 40 years. My wife is out here, so if you really want to know, ask her, okay? 'Cause, my daughter's here with her to listen to what it is that we want to do to accomplish for the town of Edgewood. She's going to live here along with us, and it's their future. So I'm here to help in any way that I can to make it better for their lives.
Thank you very much, Philandro. And same question to you on the end, John Bassett.
So my name is John Bassett. I am a lifelong resident. Maybe haven't been here quite as long as Phil and Ralph have, but I have been here a good long while. There has been a lot of stuff in the news, but the reason I'm here tonight is this is my hometown. Grew up here, lived here all my life. It's got problems right now. It's going to have problems, and we need to get busy working on them. You've got a new government coming in, new form of government in January. And I saw the last government when it was brand new back in 1999, and it had a lot of problems. And as you see here in these other candidates and that, there's not a lot of experience up here. I have a great deal to offer. A lot of experience. I've went to meetings of the town government ever since the very first one in 1999. And there's stuff we got to get working on and get doing on January 1st. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, the next question, and we will begin this round of questions with Ralph Hill. What is your vision for Edgewood, and how do you think that vision represents the values of this community?
My vision is, well, there's always been a great concern for roads, so that's obviously the highest priority. And also, everybody worries about the water system. That's important too. And then, of course, the waste treatment plant. My vision is for all of us to work together, finally get together, and in unity, and let's change these things. Let's get everything resolved. Let's do what the people want, and that's my.
That time. I'm sorry, I did forget to announce that these are 30-second round questions.
Oh, sorry.
I apologize for that. Okay, so next we'll move to Jerry Powers, same question.
What I love about Edgewood is the rural character and the friendly people here and the kind of a low-density environment. My vision for Edgewood is to listen to the voice of the people, because when government really works, when people are listened to and the government is a reflection of the will of the people who live here, you get the things that people value, like roads, trails, recreational opportunities, the things that we all love, and that's what I would like to see for Edgewood.
Okay, thank you. Audrey, same question.
Okay, as far as representing the people, I would like, or representing, my vision is to represent the people and kind of mirror their needs and wants, right? So another thing that's really important to me that I see is the Edgewood lifestyle. So open spaces, trails, parks and rec, youth programming, all of that to maintain our lifestyle here. Roads are important too. I really want productive, respectful, effective, and efficient government in leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Philandro, same question.
Can you repeat that?
Certainly. What is your vision for Edgewood, and how do you think that vision represents the values of this community?
My vision for Edgewood is pretty much, what is your vision? What is it that you all are looking for in this town? We have been here as a very rural community, but we cannot maintain a rural community and still be able to grow and keep our families here in the town. So we need to find a way to all of us get together and to become one.
Thank you. We'll move to John Bassett. Same question.
Well, my vision would be to keep doing the stuff that works and find the stuff that doesn't and get it fixed. For me, that's paving roads. One in particular I'm interested in, of course, is East Church Street. We also need to get the sewer plant. They're working on it right now. We need to keep an eye on that and keep it going. And get more personnel there hired to the road department so that we can put out those 2 crews we've been hoping for a long time, and basically just keep everything that's working and add to it.
Thank you. Time.
All right, this is also a 30-second timed question. We're going to start with, are we on? Sorry, can you hear me? Oh,
Yep.
we forgot Ken.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Look at that.
It's the rotation chart. I just didn't follow it. Ken, you get to answer 30 seconds. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. My vision for Edgewood is to create the vitality in this town to where families can enjoy their lives and live out their lives here. We have people of many ages in this town, from the very young to the very old. And this town needs to be supportive for all those people. Activities must be available for all those people. There also has to be housing available in this town that is economically viable for everybody. So not only the people that are rich, but those who are also starting out for a new life. That is my vision for this town.
Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. We'll stick a little closer to our chart. This question, we're going to start with Jerry Powers. Edgewood residents list roads as an area of concern. What problems do you see, and how would you address those issues?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. Edgewood residents list roads as an area of concern. What problems do you see, and how would you address those issues?
Well, the Bohannon Houston report, engineering report, lists $29 million worth of improvements just on the paved part of the roads that are necessary. The problem has been trying to get enough money together and the will to pave new roads. There have been very few roads paved in the last 5 or 6 years. So you have to be able to work with the legislature to get the ICIP money to be able to do that, and you have to identify which roads are priority that have the highest amount of traffic and need to be paved.
All right, thank you. Next, Audrey, we'll put the same question to you.
Okay, thank you. As Mr. Powers mentioned, deferred maintenance on the road is a very big problem. I think for a long time our traffic counter wasn't working, so hopefully we can get that moving along again. I think the focus needs to be less on spending money on infrastructure for sewer, but on the arterial roads, and we are going to pave Appaloosa and repave Frost. Equipment and the second road crew have been vital as well.
All right, thank you. Philandro Anaya, same question.
As it was mentioned just a while ago, the ICIP is something that's very important in order to get the funding to repair the roads, to pave them, and to maintain them. Unfortunately, the town did not get the ICIP into the state in time, so we're going to have to find other ways to get these things funded. But the priority is the roads, and I think that it should be based on the usage, the amount of traffic on it, and the how bad they are.
That's
to
time.
bring them up to standards.
Thank you. Sorry, we realize that these time periods are really short, but we have a lot of candidates and a lot of questions, so thanks for bearing with us on that. John Bassett, same question for you.
So back in 2012, when I was on the P&Z Commission, we came up with a road paving priority list. That list was updated again here during my administration, and we have identified those factors that go into deciding which roads to pave and stuff. So basically, we know what we need to do. It's a matter of funding. It's always funding, and you just work to go find funding.
All right, thank you very much. Ken Brennan, same question to you.
So I mirror what my colleagues here have also said, but the thing is, we need to go ahead and go back to the original list of the roads that need to be worked on, and we need to go ahead and start working on those roads, get those counts taken care of. In the past 6 years, we were given promises that certain things would be done to the roads, and nothing has happened in the past 6 years. That has got to change, and we can change that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Ralph Hill, same question to you.
Yes, I attended all the budget hearings, and I was really thrilled. It was a good budget they passed this year. The second road crew was especially important to me. And then today I met some of the road crew out there. We have a real problem with the equipment. And when they can't work on the roads, they're sitting around. So we've got to find funding for the new equipment. Also, you mentioned chip seal. That's twice as much can be done. And the last thing is we need to maybe fund everything through bond issues like Brad Hill did.
All right, thank you guys very much. Moving on to the next question.
Okay, thank you. So we will begin this round of questions with Audrey Jaramillo. Again, these are 30-second response times. What do you see as the role of town government, and what does government transparency mean to you?
Sorry, I missed a word right before transparency. Can you repeat it?
What do you see as the role of town government, and what does government transparency mean to you?
Okay. I have spent the last 23 years auditing governments and serving them and consulting with them, along with forensic work, and so I'm very familiar with the role of government. I see it, again, as service to the people and really being a mirror of what the people need. I think it should be minimized because many times the private sector does a much better job. Transparency to me means openness and honesty as well.
Thank you. Bill Anaya.
The role of town government is to take care of our people through services such as libraries, also to help them to help themselves, to work with them whenever they need. These 10 seconds are just, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Next, John Bassett, same question.
The role of the government is to do the stuff that we can't do individually. We gather together, money, effort, stuff, get stuff done like roads, police, fire, stuff like that we need. And transparency is just what it says. You let the public know what's going on, and as best as you can, give them an opportunity to participate.
Thank you. Ken Brennan, same question.
The role of the town government is to listen to the people, because the government is here for the people. We need to have the people bring their comments to us. We need to be able to listen to those comments and act on those comments, and never, ever, ever silence any of the people. Everybody has a right to speak. Everybody has that right to be heard. And that is something that I want to do going forward, is making sure that everybody does have their voice. No more arguing within council chambers, and no more throwing of tantrums. Thank you.
Thank you. Ralph Hill?
The role of the government is to do the will of the people, primarily transparency, so they can see what's going on in government, which has been lacking, and fiscal responsibility. Let's handle the money to the best of the community needs.
Thank you. And last is Jerry Powers, same question.
From my view, the role of government is housekeeping, and if it's doing a good job of taking care of the roads and all the things they're supposed to be taking care of, they're almost invisible. They don't infringe on the rights of the people, they don't get in their way, but they take care of business, the things that we need done. Transparency is kind of the opposite of what's been going on in town government. It's where all of the business is disclosed, it's deliberated out front, not pre-orchestrated and then sprung on the council at the last minute. That's been a big problem. I'd like to see that change.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the next question, we're going to start with Philandro Anaya. The proposed takeover of EPCOR water by the town drew large audiences at public meetings. Do you think such a takeover would be a positive or a negative for Edgewood, and why? And all due respect and many apologies, you got 30 seconds. So give us the elevator pitch.
Say when.
It's when you start talking.
Okay, hell no. That's what I think. We are not here to take over private entities under any circumstances. The town has no business trying to run a water company, especially since they have many problems with the sewer system right now. So trying to run a water company and can't run a sewer company, which is ours, we don't have any right to deal with SED and trying to get permits that we can't even get right now. So the answer is, like I said, hell no.
All right, great job staying within 30 seconds on that. Same question to you, John Bassett.
Well, I think it is worth considering, but there's not enough facts quite known yet. The fact-finding got held up, but it is worth considering because there are issues with the wastewater that are related to the water, and anybody looking at it and having to pay those bills, you want to consider everything to make that wastewater system work good. So it is something that is worth looking at, but at least let's get the facts on it before we have that whole discussion.
All right, thank you very much. Same question to Kenneth Brennan.
Well, the takeover of EPCOR is something that should not happen. Edgewood has no business running a utility. We have a hard enough time running the sewer plant. We can go ahead and, since we have that, work on it and get it running properly and working together with professionals to make sure it's operational. But as far as taking over a water company, we shouldn't be doing that. The water company itself is doing a fine job keeping the water flowing. It's not bad water considering what the water that we have to use from.
All right, thank you very much. Ralph Hill, same question to you.
Yes, I think the will of the people has spoken on EPCOR, and of course the cost is a primary factor, saving for the people. And again, the will of the people has spoken. The wastewater plant, I think, needs more attention, and eventually I think it's going to have to be replaced. But for now, they need to invest in those screens and other things.
All right, thank you. Jerry Powers, same question.
The town has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars investigating the takeover of EPCOR, and a cursory examination of facts shows that when the government takes over, the costs go up about 400%, and customer service goes to pieces. I was building homes in Santa Fe when they took over the town water system, and that's exactly what happened there. So the private sector can do a much better job. The customer service is great. I think that's the way we ought to go.
Thank you. And Audrey Jaramillo, same question for you.
I think it would be a very negative thing to try to condemn a water system that's working for us already. Why pay for something that we already have? It doesn't make sense. Why use up debt capacity that could be used for roads or other things for something that we already have? The private sector, like I said earlier, is much more efficient. In other communities, this increases costs 400% or more, services decrease, fraud increases, and I think the real solution is to explore water treatment.
All right, thank you.
Okay. This question will start with John Bassett. What is your position on public comment during town meetings? 30 seconds.
Well, as somebody who pushed for public comment when I was at planning and zoning, I'm all for it. I mean, basically, when I got there, they'd never had the public comment, and we added it to planning and zoning. I think it's a good tool, gives people a chance to talk and stuff. It is not required. That's one thing. But the other thing is that it needs to be done a little more civilly than it has been the last 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Next, same question to Ken Brennan.
As I've mentioned before, the people have the right to speak up, and public comment is extremely important. And the public should never be silenced or not allowed to speak, regardless. If there's something coming toward the commission, everybody should be able to weigh in on that subject and have that right to speak, and never ever feel like they're being intimidated not to say something. Everybody has the right to talk. Everybody has the right to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Ralph Hill.
I love the public comments that are allowed, and 2 minutes I think is very sufficient. One comment I might make is that I'm disturbed that in the past the mayor and some councilors have attended the P&Z meetings. I think that is not a place to try to influence P&Z votes.
Okay, thank you. Next, Jerry Powers, same question.
Public comment is absolutely vital, and it has been suppressed under the last administration. I've been the brunt of some of that myself, kind of a hostile environment to ideas that they don't agree with. I think that I would like to have town hall meetings, not just public comment at public meetings, because you only get 2 minutes. I'd like to actually have open discussion without an agenda that is moving toward votes, so people could actually think about it, debate, and discuss. That's a time-honored way of doing it in America. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Audrey Jaramillo.
I believe public comment is absolutely vital in order to represent the people. If you don't know what they want and need, how can you represent them? They absolutely have the right to speak at meetings. Even this last meeting, Councilors Abrams and Hawley refused public comment despite my numerous requests. Councilor Abraham and I had to go to a judge just to get your right to speak at meetings enforced. And I think it's a terrible thing that's been happening, and I'm absolutely in favor of public comment at meetings.
Thank you. Philandro Anaya, same question.
Ditto. I don't know what else you can add to that. The public is why we're here. And if you're not there to listen to what it is that they have to say, then you shouldn't even be there either. It's your right, it's your government. We're just there to help it function.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. This is also a 30-second response time question, and we'll be starting with Kenneth Brennan on this one. Elected officials and town operations exist to serve the public's needs. How would you ensure quality hires and a culture of customer service at Town Hall?
Well, ensure that the quality of hires starts off by reading a resume. And all my years of being a manager, I have read many resumes and had to have hired hundreds and hundreds of people. So we got to match the resumes of what that person can do to what the job's going to be, and making sure that the right person is in the right job. Not doing that, you've got to set up a person for failure. And when you set up a person for failure, you're also setting up your town for failure. It's the same thing in business. You got to make sure you're getting the right talent in the right place.
All right, thank you very much. Ralph Hill, same question for you.
Ken alluded to that it's the management of your people, and treating them with respect and guiding them, so important. We do need to go over the job descriptions, make sure the people we qualify fit our needs.
All right, thank you. Jerry Powers, same question for you.
Under the current administration, they've been hiring people that have never served in the capacity that they're hiring for. So that's number one, is to hire experienced people that are qualified. Number two, in the private sector, you always know that your performance counts because it's always being evaluated and watched. I'm the same way. When I know that my performance is being monitored and I'm accountable, I perform better and I focus more. So I think performance reviews are essential. They haven't been performed, and they're required by the town. They haven't been following their own policies. So that needs to happen.
Thank you. Audrey Jaramillo, same question for you.
Okay, to attain quality hires and have better customer service, I think it's really important that the town fix its reputation and restore ethics and have respect, make sure that the staff are not taking sides, and of course accountability, which is a big piece of customer service and training, as well as ensuring under the new form of government that we have a town manager that will do a good job with hiring, training, and all of that, because the town manager will be the one in charge of that, not the commission.
All right, thank you. Philandro Anaya, same question for you.
The town quality of employment starts with up here. If you don't have the right people sitting up here, you're not going to have the right people sitting out there servicing the public. They have to make sure, we have to make sure that we have the right people in the right jobs that are qualified for it and that are being paid the right wages for the right job that they are doing. So that's where it starts, right up here. And if you don't have the right people up here, you're not going to have them out there.
Thank you. And John Bassett, same question for you.
Well, as one who has hired a staff, and I think a damn good staff, you put out the help wanted sign, you list what the job is about, and you get them to come in. You look at them, you see how they fit in with the program. And you hire people that you think can do the job and do it well. And I think we had real good success doing that. You just keep it up.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, that was off to a good start. Take a deep breath, because now we're going to 1 minute long question and response times. All right, and we are also going to mix it up by starting at this end of the table with Mr. Bassett and working in the opposite direction. Okay. To your knowledge, what is actually wrong with the town's wastewater treatment plant, and how do you propose to fix it and fund those costs?
Well, the biggest thing wrong with it is the screening assembly. There was never one installed. We went over to Rio Rancho, we've talked to experts and stuff, and when you have this membrane system like we do, you have to be very careful that stuff like mop strings and that don't get in there and tear that up. it's never had that. That's what we're working on to get fixed right now. That's the project that's getting underway. It's being funded by a grant loan from the New Mexico Environment Department. You need that thing fixed up as much as anything. Then when that's up and working, we will see how it reacts, how it's doing. Beyond that, we could probably use another pond out there to store the excess water. We have the alternative disposal system working out there. That's a good thing, but mainly it's just you got to kind of, work it a little bit at a time. Them screens should be a big deal. Is that
Thank you. Okay, same question, Philandro Anaya.
Wastewater plant that was built here was, in my eyes, built wrong. It was not properly designed to handle even the small businesses that it did at the beginning. They had undersized it so that it couldn't grow. And then not only when they undersized it, they didn't build the system to actually clean the sewage out of it. A sewer plant needs to be designed for commercial use. And in designing that means that you have to make sure that your commercial areas are what goes into the system and actually functions out. For an example, commercial businesses are going to have grease traps, which is going to trap a lot of the grease and stuff that comes out of the business instead of going into the...
Okay, we'll move on to Audrey Jaramillo.
Okay, the wastewater treatment plant. This is a very, very complex topic, and a minute cannot do it justice. But I will address a few points. First of all, historically, some of the money to fix the plant had been there. That funding was diverted without public approval or disclosure to the public to infrastructure for residential sewer in and around and on the former mayor's family lands. So that was a big problem. The contractor that we've recently hired, I think, is doing a good job. So continuing communication with him and making progress forward. Enforcing the ordinance as far as the input of what's coming into the plant and making sure that that's clean from the commercial entities is important. I still think we do need to explore water treatment and see if that could possibly help the plant.
Thank you. Next, Jerry Powers, same question.
I'm not used to a minute, so I'll try to fill it up. So there are several problems with the sewer plant. One is that there was a $1.8 million that was allocated to fix the plant, which could have gone for screens that would have helped the plant, but it was diverted to sewer collection line that went to the Bassett family lands and away from the commercial area. There was actually a vote taken by the council that would have expanded sewer along 66. There were customers lined up waiting for new offices and new shops there. So they didn't get that. Edgewood didn't get the revenue or the services that would have been allowed by those new businesses. The other is their pre-treatment. There's an ordinance that requires monitoring, like restaurants have to have their grease traps pumped out. I talked to some of the people that were doing that, but it hasn't been enforced in several years. So all of that material that's never supposed to hit the sewer plant is not being monitored, and it's gumming up the works. So we could have had the screens, we could have had the money. We need to stay away from residential sewer. It doesn't pay and it doesn't bring business.
Time.
Thanks.
Up next, Ralph Hill, same question.
Okay. Mayor Sterling sure made a big mistake. He was sold a bill of goods with this filter system that doesn't match our water system, our water type of water. And I still feel we eventually will have to go to a lagoon system. These filter systems just can't handle the water. We've got a real concern with the New Mexico Environment Department. We've got to clean up our water. And one thing bothers me is the slow rolling of everything that gets done with the sewer plant. Those screens should have been in a long time ago, and they're still not in.
Thank you. Same question, Ken Brennan.
Well, I can pretty much mirror everything that everybody else has said. So what I'm going to add to that is the sewer system itself. There have been proposals made on how to improve it and actually how to retrofit it to be able to handle the type of water we have out here, and that's been ignored. That was brought up back in the Hill administration. That was brought up to be done, and the latest administration has basically thrown that out the window. We need to go back to those plans and revisit them and see exactly what we implement of those plans and be able to make the improvements to that sewer plant that makes sense within the budgetary restraints that the town has.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys very much for sticking with our timing. We're actually running right on schedule, which is kind of unheard of, so we know it's tough to do this in a short time, but thank you. So we're starting this question with Philandro Anaya. What, if any, infrastructure do you believe needs to be developed in Edgewood to attract new businesses, and how do you propose to develop and fund it?
Well, as far as infrastructure goes, there's many things that we can do in this. One being high-speed internet, which we all need. I use AT&T, whatever they're called, and that's the worst system I've ever had to have. And I'm sure many of you guys out there have done the same thing. But I want to go back to one thing that really makes a huge difference, and that's the sewer system. It was created from the beginning to allow commercial businesses, and it was very successful. General funds were used to supplement the operations, repairs, and maintenances. And then Mr. Bassett here came and rerouted funds to put in residential sewer, which set us back a tremendous amount of time. We should have always stayed with what we know best, which was to keep the sewer system in the commercial side. That is part and very much an infrastructure issue.
That's time, thank you. Let's see, same question for you, Audrey Jaramillo.
Okay. I do think it's very vital for our town to continue growing and attracting businesses and families and jobs that comes with it. Infrastructure is very important. I agree on the internet. That is something that I think is being worked on, and it does follow supply and demand. The sewer system, of course, making sure that is has capacity to add new businesses, that's important because it increases the GRT for the town, which benefits everyone, the gross receipts taxes, as the businesses come in. And actually, that's why that infrastructure was brought here to Edgewood, was so that we could have services, roads, businesses, restaurants, places to go, et cetera. Roads are very important as well. And then customer service is just so important too, to be friendly and minimize the red tape and kind of assist the development.
All right, thank you. Jerry Powers, same question for you.
I was around when the town incorporated, and at that time, Santa Fe County's land use restrictions were such that you couldn't have anything here but gas stations. So you could buy Cokes and candy bars, and that's about it. So it was a great service for the town to allow commercial, and in order to do that, you had to have the sewer system. So the expansion of residential sewer actually harmed the town because it took away from what could have happened on Route 66. And we could have had more GRT. The town runs on gross receipts taxes. That's most of the budget. So Dennis Engineering wanted to expand. They put in an application for sewer, and because it got diverted away from where the council actually voted to put it, they left town. Those are high-quality jobs, high-paying jobs, engineering services. They're out doing millions of dollars of business all over the state, and the gross receipts is going to Socorro or somewhere else. Albuquerque, I think, is where they are now. So we need to provide the infrastructure. The free market does a great job of filling in the blanks. The other services that we need so we don't have to drive into Albuquerque. Thank you.
Thank you. Ralph Hill, same question for you.
Yes, we got to look carefully at providing water, sewer, utilities, and high-speed internet, like Phil said. We need to attract low-impact manufacturing, that quality products. I also look at Section 16 as a wonderful place for us to have a small business community, places where you could walk to and do your shopping and meet your neighbors.
All right, thank you. And same question to you, Ken Brennan.
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure.
I want to make sure I got it right.
What, if any, infrastructure do you believe needs to be developed in Edgewood to attract new businesses, and how do you propose to develop and fund it?
Well, as it's already been said before about the internet. Internet is really important for small businesses. That's how a lot of them connect, and so they can go ahead and do the credit card transactions and stuff like that. If you don't have a good internet, their system's constantly running, shutting down and causing them problems. So a good internet running. And right now I understand that Edgewood is getting a good internet system installed. It's slow going, but it's getting out to different neighborhoods. Along with the sewer system, when businesses come in, they need a sewer system they can rely on. So by making sure that we get the sewer system up and running properly, then we're going to be able to have businesses that can go ahead and tie into that. And on top of that is to make sure that the town hall is more friendly to businesses coming in, and to work with them, to get them to come in here and help them to start their business out and not fight against them. We need to work with the small businesses to keep this town vital.
All right, thank you. And John Bassett, same question for you.
Well, you need to expand the sewer, you need to pave roads, you need to expand broadband availability to the town. We used a grant from the AG's office to get started on these hot spots around here. For the sewers, for roads, stuff like that, you're looking at capital outlay. That's where you have to go try to find that. Broadband and that, grants, they have some other government programs that try to help that. The AG's was kind of a one-time thing. We were made aware of it, we sought it, and we got it. And it did help quite a bit, but you just need to expand them, and basically you're looking to the state legislature and/or gross receipts tax to try to fund it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, this next question is also 1 minute long, and we will be starting this question with Audrey Jaramillo. Open space, trails, and recreational facilities and programs are important to Edgewood residents. What top priorities do you see for Parks and Rec, and how would you fund such amenities?
Okay, so parks and trails, definitely a part of the Edgewood lifestyle that is so important to us all. It's definitely good for families, equestrian, all of the things that we enjoy. What I would do is change the committee, probably back to the way it used to be before changes were made. There were 2 directors lost. And so that needs to get moving forward again. We've been asking Councilor Abraham and I for a very long time to get a Parks and Rec director again. That has been refused. Youth programs are very important, and I've lobbied for a long time and received funds actually as well from the legislature for youth programming, and also for Echo Ridge, which is open space, Section 34, to make improvements so that we can purchase the land. Section 32, we need access to that, and that would be possibly purchasing land from the city of Albuquerque.
Thank you. Next, same question to Jerry Powers.
Recreation and trails has been absolutely neglected under the current administration the last 5 or 6 years. There's been a lot of talk about it, but no action, and Parks and Rec hasn't even had a director in over a year and a half. So very little attention's been paid. The equestrian center, which is owned by Santa Fe County, was maintained and operated by Edgewood, but it got, the town got crossways, couldn't get along with Santa Fe County, and they absolutely shut down that facility in terms of maintaining it. So now it's being maintained by volunteers, and it's unconscionable that people pay taxes here, and they're out there maintaining it, weeding it, painting it, and operating it themselves. So attention needs to be paid. We need to do justice to the outdoor environment. We have these great opportunities with Section 32 and 34 open space that are very cheap and reasonable for us to get, but we're going to lose them if we don't act on them very soon. So we need a new Parks and Rec director, and we need to get on that.
Thank you. Same question to Ralph Hill.
This is a really important element of Edgewood, is providing recreational facilities for everyone, and especially children. And like he said, we lost 2 really good recreation directors. We need to hire a new one. I'd like to hire one much like Roger Holden we had before. Also, maybe someone that's got experience with collecting rainwater and using it for soccer fields and things. We have 2 of our former members of our Recreation Advisory Committee. We were doing a wonderful job. I was chairman, and that got shut down. We had so many things going that have just come to a complete stop, and we need to get back going, meeting once a month like we were. And our advisory committee was helping the director significantly. You know, it's not true what was said that we did nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question to Ken Brennan, please.
When the Parks and Recs group was disbanded, that was the most despicable thing that was ever done to this town, because basically it was telling the people, we don't care about your personal time and your free time or your families. We need to bring Parks and Rec group back together, and as Ralph Hill said, there are some fine people that were on Parks and Rec. We need to bring them back, and I pray to God that they're willing to come back. After the abuse that they took, most people would say, no, I'm done with that, but I will work with them and try to get those folks to come back. Once again, also as far as Section 32 and 34, working on those, obtaining those areas and building it up for more family activities. On Section 16, there's been talk about a bicycle BMX track to put out there. That'd be a great thing for the kids. And not only that, but now you also have a soccer field there. You're going to have the BMX track. We got the children area. Families can come and they can go ahead and have their different children doing different places and not have to scatter themselves all over town just to keep their kids happy and going good. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once here. Okay, now we'll move to John Bassett. Same question.
So one of my priorities would be on Section 34 back over here, the BLM land. One of the issues that they've had out there for a number of years is people dumping stuff on it. So one way to try to head that off is get out there and move in with the recreation part of it. It needs fenced. It needs a trail built along Edgewood 7 back to it so equestrian and pedestrian can access it. That's one that we need to work on and get it finished. And if you get it working like a park, then you're going to have less people out there dumping. As far as the Parks and Rec Commission, mostly what did them in was the pandemic, as it did a lot of things. And as far as appointing directors and that was something that I was trying to work on at the time of my removal. And the other thing that happened was basically with Santa Fe County and that equestrian, I was working with Catherine Miller. We had a great relationship, just like we did working for First Choice out here.
Thank you, that's time. Same question, Philandro Anaya.
The town needs to follow up with BLM to keep making improvements on the land, which has been falling behind, who knows why. Echo Ridge could be a great asset for the town in many ways, like horseback riding, trails, walking, bike riding, picnics, places, and many more options of such. Section 32, we need to get a right-of-way into that so that we can, again, start working with BLM for improvements. Section 16, which is a project that I started working on back when I was on the Board of Education. Mr. Bassett said that he was probably the only one that has experience of hiring people. Well, I was with the Board of Education, and we had one of the largest employment, and I was very much involved with hiring people from there too. So,
Thank you very much, candidates. We're going to move to the next question.
All right, thank you very much. We'll be starting this question with Jerry Powers. Edgewood town meetings have become very contentious over the past few years. What do you think is appropriate behavior for elected officials and staff, and what would you do to restore civil behavior to the governing body?
I think collaboration and listening to the people, or not listening to the people, is what will determine whether or not this continues. It's been horrible for the last couple of years in town hall. There have been counselors actually removed by police force, gavel pounding beyond belief. So if you listen to the people, I don't believe you're going to have the kind of pushback that has happened because of not listening. I think that the town halls that I was suggesting, and I hope the other candidates will support that, where it's an open environment without an agenda, without clocks, and people can actually be heard and know that they're being heard. I think the hostile environment has actually happened because people realize that they're being pushed away and not listened to.
All right, thank you very much. Ralph Hill, same question for you.
Yes, I think the big problem is people are being ignored. They're not giving a chance to really express their opinion and being heard in the government. I think we need to, follow what the Christian method of treating people like you'd like to be treated. We've got to show people respect. It's just not right when we jump and treat people like they're lower in status. One thing I might mention, I forgot. November 13th, we're going to be we're going to have a community trail ride, and everybody's invited. It's going to be up at the Echo Ridge, Section 32. So this is a wonderful use of a town resource.
All right, thank you. Kenneth Brennan, same question for you.
Common decency and civility needs to return to the town's meetings. All right, this business of screaming and yelling at each other, slamming that gavel has to stop. I mean, we're all good people here, all right? And having to be yelled at and be belittled, it's unnecessary. It's just wrong. And as far as those that are going to be on the commission, it has to be a commission where everybody can work together. They can actually build and work on what this town has and get it going forward. By that type of cooperation, that's the only way it's going to be. So every member that's going to be on the commission has to be willing to work with each other. It's okay to disagree. It's all right to have different opinions. But to start yelling at people saying that's how wrong you are, or this is not going to be, and sit down, we don't want to hear you, or Sheriff, please take this person out of this room, that's got to stop. We're family here. This is a town. We are a community, and we have to be better with each other. Thank you.
All right, thank you. John Bassett, same question for you.
Well, as one who was yelled at and called crook and everything else, I seen a lot of it coming from the other side. They came in. I would go to meetings, like say, for 20-some years and never have anybody carry on like that. Civility is a two-way street. The people coming in need to act that way toward the people that are having the meeting up there. They're trying to do the people's business. I can proudly say that in my entire time as mayor, I never once asked the police to remove anybody. Years ago in the Hill administration, that was threatened at me and several other people a number of times. I always tried to let people speak. I knew they were there to speak. I didn't like the tone a lot of times because it seemed like it was uncalled for, but that's what they want to say, that's what they say. So civility, it's sort of a thing of you want to get it, give it.
Thank you. Pilandro Anaya, same question for you.
Town behavior. I've been on many boards since 1999 from the Board of Education for 12 years. I worked on other boards which had the same type of commission manager, and I've been chairperson on the boards also, and not once out of all the years that I've been on boards have we ever treated customers, clients, members of the community of such as what's being treated right now by the town of Edgewood. I believe it's got to change. It's got to stop. This is just outright crazy. And it will not happen under this new form of government. And if it does, then we will stop, the commission will stop that from happening immediately.
All right, thank you very much. And Audrey Jaramillo, same question for you.
Okay, I think this is a great question. I really look forward to this changing. I'm counting down the days, honestly. To restore civil behavior, everyone needs to be respectful, listen, take turns, not shut down the minority voice, make sure there can be debate. Training is necessary sometimes. No bullying, no cussing, no yelling, no getting up and coming at people, which has been happening. Just at the meeting Monday night, y'all probably don't know this, but I had to call the police on Mayor Pro Tem Abrams because he was verbally abusing, yelling, and coming after Councilor Abraham. It was scary, unsafe, and horrible. You all, as the people, have the ability to vote in different ones that aren't going to be bullies, treat women badly, not listen to the public, etc. So it's up to you too.
All right, thank you all very much.
Okay, this next question, we'll begin with Ralph Hill. This is a 1-minute question and answer. What are your views on future growth and/or development in Edgewood?
I think we're going to have to look to find the most attractive ways to organize and build this community, and attract young people, as well as we're also senior citizens are moving here. It's just such a wonderful, safe place compared to Albuquerque, and I think you all and I want to keep it this way, just like it. I mean, just not allow any big projects come in that don't fit our Western rural lifestyle.
Thank you. Same question, Ken Brennan.
In Nextdoor, I had a post that I put in asking the town of people, what do you want? I had over 600 responses onto that post. Many people were giving great ideas on things that we can do with this town, what we can bring in. Some people agreed, some people disagreed. But see, that's the problem. That's the thing about a community. We can talk about this stuff. We can come to an agreement on what we're going to be doing. So some of those businesses they want to bring, people were talking about bringing in a movie theater. At one time, we were going to have one. I don't know exactly what happened to that. Some people are wanting a swimming pool. Granted, with the water situation we have out here, that would be a difficult thing, not totally impossible. But the thing is, the people were making ideas and bringing choices up. And us, as the commissioners, we can work with the people and try to do what those ideas are and bring them forth and do what we can with what we have. But the important thing is by listening to the people exactly what they're asking for.
Thank you. Same question, John Bassett.
Former counselor Rita Loy Simmons used to say, if you don't grow, you die. So you have to look at growing a development, growing an economic base to pay the bills. In all my time in there, I never met anybody that come in and said, stop, you've done enough, don't do no more. They always want more roads, a swimming pool, you name it, they want more. So you've got to develop, you've got to do it smart, and I think we've done a good job of trying to set out where stuff can go in that. It's just a matter of you got to get ready for the day when they come back. The pandemic in 2008, that hurt. And we're still recovering from some of that, but we keep trying.
Thank you. Same question, Philandro Naya.
The town of Edgewood has a great future ahead of it. We have such an opportunity to place a state-of-the-art infrastructure, like has been mentioned before, with high-speed internet, a sewer system that works, or even a new bridge over Williams Ranch Road or Bassett Boulevard, to bring in new businesses. We can start by working with developers to bring in obtainable housing for the young and the senior citizens. Jobs that pay good wages to keep them here. Work with the schools to see what it is that they need as far as infrastructure to build a new high-tech school on Section 16, that would work for the entire East Mountain. And even going back to the new off-ramp, we'll be able to bring in new businesses to help the community grow, and also through the taxes that they'll bring in, through gas,
Thank you.
food,
That's
and
time.
hotels. We'll be able to pave new roads
That's
through
time.
income taxes, not
So we'll move on to
bring in.
We'll move on to Audrey Jaramillo. Same question.
Can I have 2 minutes?
He thinks going further away from the mic is going to help. So how many of you guys remember the Homestead restaurant? How many of you remember before stoplights, just stop signs? How many of you remember when Church Road was all dirt and washboarded like crazy? So I've seen Edgewood grow a lot, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank those who have gone on before me, some of my mentors. One is in the audience this evening, former Councilor Chuck Ring, Rita Loy. Many of those who have served before us have done so much for our community. They gave us local control, let the taxes stay here. And so for growth, I think a variety of housing so our younger generation can afford to be here, and they don't have to go to Albuquerque where it's awful sometimes. Attract families, don't want to stagnate, don't want to have too much red tape. Develop Section 16 City Center, which has been started by the Hill administration and was a great plan. And also the LIDA ordinance will help too.
Thank you. We'll move on to Jerry Powers. Same question.
So this is not Rio Rancho, and that's why I live here. I love the rural character of the place. I think what's important about what happens in the future, people are going to build houses, businesses will come, is that we preserve what we love about this place, the rural nature, the rural character of it. Part of that is not neglecting the recreational opportunities, the trails, the open space. Part of it is keeping the commercial where it belongs in the commercial area, and that got bypassed by starting this residential sewer thing, diversion. We need to expand the sewer and make sure that it works. We need to get that plant working so that the businesses that we do want here, it's pretty good when people say, well, the only things I can think of are like a movie theater and a swimming pool. People are pretty content, pretty happy with what we have here. I think the high-paying jobs, it was a real mistake not to continue expansion of the sewer on 66 because we had those engineering-type jobs and high-tech jobs, which will help the local people and let our children grow up here, stay here if they want to, instead of having to move away. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. High-paying jobs is a good segue for this next question, which we're going to start with Kenneth Brennan, and this will be 1 minute for you to answer. What do you think makes for a prosperous community? And what, if anything, do you think Edgewood is missing? And what can the town do to fill that gap?
Well, a prosperous community is a community that does grow, and it supports the people that are living within it. Bringing in businesses into this town, especially along the Route 66 corridor, is going to be important. As Mr. Powers has said about the engineering business that wanted to come here and left, those were good paying jobs. But the thing is, that's not totally lost. We as the commission can start working together to bring that stuff back here. It's going to take a lot of work. None of this is going to be easy. And it's going to take a commission that's going to be able to work together to do that. And to bring those economic growth items to the town is going to be an important thing, because if we don't do that, all the expenditures of this town are going to be relied on the people, and the people can't afford to do that. Businesses have to be here. That's where your money comes from to support your town. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Bassett, same question for you.
Well, as somebody that went out and got stuff done, I can sort of tell you on that. First choice was looking to expand into a new clinic and get out of that little old box they were in over there. And how did we do it? Well, it took a lot of trips to Santa Fe and lining up people at the state land office, Santa Fe County. We even went to central New Mexico to get a red leg loan and help that. A prosperous community is one where people get out and work to bring stuff like that in and do it smart. You get up there, you get your people together, and you see the new clinic that's out there. It's a success. You basically look at a prosperous community as one that's trying something new and different. You can't just have the same little old businesses and stuff. You've got to try to come with new stuff. That new clinic was a boon for stuff. The pandemic kind of hurt on that, but basically you just have to work at it diligently until you get it.
All right, thank you very much. Philandro Anaya, same question for you.
I'm going to go back a little bit here to finish my statement that I tried. Going back to the off-ramp, we'll be able to bring in some new businesses to help the growth in the economy through taxes that are paid through the businesses as they buy the gas, food, and even stay in our hotels. We'll be able to pave roads through the income from the taxes that they bring in, again, from the new businesses. And you know what? The nice thing about this whole thing is we're not going to raise your all's taxes. We're done doing that. We'll be able to attract tourists, again, as they stop. We'll be able to bring in high-tech businesses through the new part of town coming into Route 66. John mentioned First Choice as being one of the projects that he got to work on. Well, I got to work on that too, but I was in the backside of it. I was working with Santa Fe County at the time. So I got to work on that, and along with Section 16, that was way before his time.
Bill, that's
I got
time.
To work on
Thank you. Thank you very much. Audrey Jaramillo, same question for you.
Okay, so I think a prosperous community is one that is living its core values as much as possible. And I know that a lot of that work has already been done with the community through the Hill administration, the master plan, and also the comprehensive plan. So we do have some of that documentation already on the future and what it could look like and what direction we should be moving with the town. And it's the responsibility of the leaders to help it kind of move that way, listen to the people along the way, growing safely in a very planned manner, not too fast. Make sure we're thriving, we have jobs, our younger ones can live here with a variety of housing. The Edgewood lifestyle is so important, education as well. So I'm very, very thankful for EVCA being here. And as long as government is doing housekeeping, like Jerry says, then I think we will be thriving.
All right, thank you very much. Jerry Powers, same question for you.
So I echo what Audrey said. High-paying jobs that are low impact, negative impact on the community, keeping the cost of living low, part of that is the effectiveness or efficiency of government. In the last few years, it got bloated and ineffective. So we can do more with what we already have, keep our taxes low, not have to raise taxes, which will help. But there's another issue here. I'm reading from the promises that former Mayor Bassett made in 2016 about keeping legal fees low. They've gone through the roof. This crazy attempt to take over EPCOR, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars there. And because they refused to follow the law, Councilors Jaramillo and Abraham had to take them before a judge with their own money, and they were spending our money. The town was spending our money against us to restrict the right to talk at a meeting, to put items on the agenda, and just to follow the law on the special election that happened last August. So all of that has to go away. We have to have more with what do more with what we've already got.
Thank you very much. And Ralph Hill, same question for you.
You know, I think one of the most important things this new commission is going to do is bring in a dynamic and real strong town manager, and I look forward to working with such a person and hiring him. I think we've got a great start here in the town with the Stanchia Valley Classical Academy. Look how they're going to expand, and I do have to compliment the town on the great activities we've had out at the soccer field, but we could do so much more out there and expand the pavilion soccer area. Let's keep doing that. One thing I'd like to see is a larger hospital health clinic here. We were supposed to have a mental health clinic. That thing has never gotten off the ground, and I'd like to see technical vocational classes here.
All right, thank you guys very much. I'd like to take just a quick moment to give a shout out and say thank you to Ryan Penfold here, the guy standing on top of a table. He's responsible for the sound, and this is a real challenging room, and it sounds great, Ryan, so thank you very much. He has a business called Penfold Live. All right, so let's move on to the next one.
And I'll continue that shameless plug and say Ryan is a member of the Greater East Mountain Chamber of Commerce. If you'd like his services, go to our website. Okay, so we are on time, still on track. I thank all of you candidates for sticking with the time limits. We are going to now go back to our more lightning speed and do the 30-second question answers again, and we are also going to reverse direction again. So this time we will be starting with Mr. Ralph Hill, and then we will be going down the line towards Mr. Bassett. All right, this next question. Water is a limited resource. In your opinion, what steps might the town take to protect and/or conserve water for our town and region?
Did you say conserve water?
Yes, what steps might the town take to protect and/or conserve water for our town and region?
Okay. Well, there is people feel like this valley is short of water. You've got to realize that a lot of our water goes to irrigation, and I think we should be looking towards converting this farming irrigation water to residential housing. We could do so much more with it, and that'd have to be with the state engineer, and also collecting rain and purifying rainwater. Much the same way Tucson is doing.
Thank you. Same question with Jerry Powers.
So a lot of people don't understand how water works here, that there is a limited supply, but there's an enormous amount of water being used for irrigation. And as these new homes are built in new subdivisions, typically they retire some of these water rights and they just move them from where they're currently being used in agriculture to residential. So right now, EPCOR has about a 75-year supply. Entranosa has an enormous supply. So I think we should have some town halls to talk about how it really works. And and what can really be done, because a lot of people think that it's like sticking a new straw in the Coke
Thank
every
you.
time somebody moves in.
So same question, Audrey Jaramillo.
Okay, just wanted to echo what Jerry was saying about water rights and them just being moved. They go a lot of times from irrigators to residents. And he mentioned also EPCOR having a 75-year supply, and Entranosa, I think that is also a good thing to conserve. I do know EPCOR has done a great conservation campaign in Clovis that was very, very successful. And we should explore brackish water technology.
Thank you. Same question, Philandro Anaya.
Repeat the question.
Certainly. Water is a limited resource. In your opinion, what steps might the town take to protect and/or conserve water for our town and region?
A while back I sat on a board called EBRA, the Estancia Basin Resource Association, and we fought to keep the water kept here in the Estancia Basin. And one of the things that we found out through this organization was, for one, the resource, or not the resource, but the refill through the rainwater, how much we were getting, and how much was it growing, recharging.
Thank you. Same question, John Bassett.
So, years ago in Edgewood, the theory was the sewer system would gather the water and not have the nitrates going from individual septic systems into the groundwater. Don't know if that still carries any weight. Everything I've heard about the wastewater plant, they seem to not like it or anything. But that was one thought for protecting our groundwater. As far as conserving it, basically you use less of it. So you have to go to zero-scaping or something like that. But again, that's kind of an individual homeowner's choice to do something like that.
All right, Ken Brennan, same question.
I'm not going to go ahead and repeat everything that's already been said because it's all good information. But what we can add to that is by helping educate the people on best way to collect rainwater to be used in their own properties, coming up with different systems as far as the septic systems. There are different septic systems out there that can actually treat the water and be used for underground watering. There are specific laws in this state for that, but I've seen those systems work really well. The other thing too is, and people are going to hate this, but the use of artificial grass in public lands. If you have artificial grass, it looks really nice, you don't have to water it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys very much. We have another question. It's not a bad segue to that. Open space and rural character are important to Edgewood residents. How would you endeavor to preserve such elements? We're going to be starting with Jerry Powers on this one. And 30 seconds.
Well, we can start with by taking the opportunities that have been neglected in Section 32 and 34. We've got tremendous opportunities to preserve that for hiking and equestrian activities. We can also build new trails. That's been promised for years to access the rural character that we all enjoy. We've got some tremendous views out here, some beautiful property, and we need more opportunity to be able to hike on it. Our children need biking trails so that after school they can get down to Section 16. I think access to the beauty that we already have here is what people really want.
Thank you very much. Let's see, moving to Audrey Jaramillo, same question for you.
Okay. As far as open space and rural character, I think it's important that we continue to develop sections 32, 34, 16, and anywhere else that we can in accordance with the master plan and the comp plan and anything else that comes along our way. Trails are important. Even road requirements, we were going to look at that, and that could be where we make sure that there's space for trails on each side of the roads before they are engineered and developed.
All right, thank you. Same question going to Philandro Anaya.
Okay, I'm going to read this real fast. The town needs to follow up with the BLM to keep making improvements on the land, which we have fallen behind on Echo Ridge. Echo Ridge could be a great asset to the town in many ways, like horseback riding, trails, walking, bike riding, picnics, picnic places, and many more options of such. Same thing with Section 32 and Section 16. Those are assets of ours, and open space is very important.
Same question going to you, John Bassett.
So on open space preservation, like I said, out there on the BLM land on 34, get out there and use it so it's not turned into a dump. Recently, the town has been approached by the city of Albuquerque with a number of parcels of property over there on the backside of 32. Roger Holden and I worked. We sent letters into Albuquerque there when R.J. Berry was the mayor, requesting some of that property for a trailhead and stuff. That's something that needs to be pursued now, at least on a couple of those pieces that would give some kind of access into 32.
Thank you. Sorry to cut you guys off, but the idea of actually running on schedule has got me a little bit giddy over here. All right, so we have the same question for you, Ken Brennan. What would you do to preserve open space and rural character?
Well, to preserve our open space is to get the community involved. Like it's been mentioned already before, there's been areas where people have gone to do illegal dumping. It takes the public people to go ahead and when they see this to make sure it's brought up to everybody's attention. The other thing is we have groups that can go out there and actually help clean up. Just this past week, and I saw a bunch of kids walking down 344 picking up trash. That was fantastic. That is a community getting together and keeping itself clean. And I like to see more of that happen.
All right, thank you. And Ralph Hill, the same question for you.
I think we could ask developers to encourage them to maintain our rural lifestyle, develop parks in beautiful settings for their developments. I am worried that we can't, if we let loose of Section 32, the state's going to give that property to some developer, and we'll lose that beautiful asset.
All right, thank you guys very much. According to my chart, it's your turn.
We're going to put this question in that spot. Just pull it out.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This next question will begin with Audrey Jaramillo. It's a 30-second response time. The town has experienced dysfunction in leadership. What would you propose to begin a healing process and begin a more functional organization?
Sorry, Linda, I had a really hard time hearing that. Can you repeat it?
Certainly, sorry. The town has experienced dysfunction in leadership. What would you propose to begin a healing process and begin a more functional organization?
Work on what organization?
And begin a more functional organization.
Okay. Okay, so this is a great question. I think so much of it has to do with leadership and who the people vote into office. And so I think that's really a lesson that a lot of people learned, that is just so important to look at the character of who is leading the town and how they're going to treat one another. And healing, of course, that comes with a lot of work together. And January 1.
Thank you. Same question to Philandro Anaya.
Healing. Wow. That's going to take a lot of work. I think that what the new commission's going to need to do is, for one, education. We will go through a lot of the sources that the state has available for us. Two, we will be able to, when we hire the new manager, the manager himself has to be highly successful in prior businesses so that they can guide also.
Thank you. Next, John Bassett, same question.
I guess the way to sort of work on healing it is get to work on the problems in front of us, quit suing one another, that would help. Basically understand that we are all in this together, and anytime you throw a punch at somebody, it pretty much always comes back on you somewhere or another. Those headlines we've been looking at the last 2 years, we've got to do away with them. They're toxic to people coming here. Everybody says, let's bring somebody in. When they read those headlines, they say, nope, not there.
Thank you. Next, Ken Brennan, same question.
All right, this question can't be answered in 30 seconds, so the best way I can say to this,
Absolutely not.
fellow candidate commissioners, thank you for the work that you're doing in getting into this, and I am willing to work with all of you to make sure Edgewood prospers.
Thank you. Ralph Hill?
Yeah. The same thing, unity. We've got to have unity with the community. Kind of rhymes. And we've got to have unity among the commissioners. We have to listen and respect everything, even though we don't agree with them. Well, they may have a more valid point than we have. And I think that's what's been lacking. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry Powers, same question.
30 seconds isn't enough, but for me, the dysfunction really has been created by the my way or the highway attitudes of Councilors Abrams and Hawley. And really, there needs to be a collaboration. There's some fine people here that I believe can all work together, but it's going to have to be the will of the people, government by the people. And that takes collaboration and discussion, not my way or the highway, or get escorted out by the police chief.
Thank you.
All right, that's it, right? All right, thank you guys very much. This one will be starting with Philandro Anaya. We're still on 30 seconds. Sorry, we know. As a commissioner, you'll be overseeing the town's budgeting process and spending town monies. What does fiscal responsibility mean to you?
Number one, conservative. You can't just spend money to spend money. You hear a lot of people saying, oh, it's free money. Nothing's free. The money does not come from, well, it does grow on trees if you think about paper, but it's not free money. So you actually have to run the government just as you would a business, but you still have to be able to make sure that you provide services for the people and to the people.
All right, thank you very much. John Bassett, same question for you.
Fiscal responsibility. That's meeting the demands placed on the budget and spending the money wisely and, balancing it. It's a requirement. Basically, just don't go crazy with the money. And it is, the people's money. You've always got to be mindful of that. And try to use it in ways that advance the interest of the community and get it done right.
Thank you. Same question for you, Ken Brennan.
Could you repeat the full question again, please?
You bet. As a commissioner, you'll be overseeing the town's budgeting process and spending town monies. And what does fiscal responsibility mean to you?
Spending the people's money, and that's what it is. It's the people's money, your money. Every dime that is spent needs to benefit the town as a whole and never benefit just a small group or an individual. So as a commissioner, that is one thing I am going to work for and make sure it happens, that our money is spent wisely and for the majority of the people's benefit. All
right, thank you. And Ralph Hill, same question for you.
Yeah. And this money that's budgeted it has to go to those projects that we budget it for, and we can't be shifting money around without other people's knowledge. We need to open and timely budget sessions, and we need to meet the public desires. It all boils down to common sense, because we are responsible to the public for how the money is spent.
All right, thank you. And Jerry Powers, same question for you.
I ran a construction company that had an annual budget bigger than the town budget, and in that business, you're either efficient or you won't survive. So for me, it's running the town like a business, pinching every penny, making sure we're getting the most out of the people and the equipment that we have, because a large part of our budget is spent on roads and maintenance. So I think that, for me, would be the focus as a commissioner, to have access to the town manager who will be running things, and I'd be more of a hands-on commissioner that way. In affecting the efficiency of the government.
All right, thank you. And same question for you, Audrey Jaramillo.
Fiscal responsibility is something that I deal with on a daily basis in my career. I'm a CPA and a certified fraud examiner, working with clients, training and leading governments throughout New Mexico for the past 23 plus years. And so I think transparent information, good audits, compliance with all laws and regulations, being a good steward, of course, of the taxpayer dollars, not having conflicts of interest, anti-donation needs to be adhered to. You cannot benefit an individual, and Governmental Conduct Act as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next question. This one will start with John Bassett. And it's a 30-second question. As an elected official, the public relies on your good judgment. Avoiding conflicts of interest is a hallmark of good government. How do you define a conflict of interest, and under what circumstances would you feel you should recuse yourself from voting on town issues?
Conflict of interest is basically Governmental Conduct Act. If you're privy to information the other board members don't have, or if it's something personal of your own, you let them know about it.
I'd like to interrupt for just a moment, please. The question, I believe, is asking if you have any conflicts of interest.
No, it's how do you define it?
How do you define it?
And under what circumstances would you feel you should recuse yourself? All right. Let me just yeah, sorry, I guess it didn't come from a reporter. Conflicts of interest are the hallmark of good government. How do you define a conflict of interest, and under what circumstances would you feel you should recuse yourself from voting on town issues? So I'll give you a little more time. Sorry about the interruption.
Well, as I said, anything personal or whatever, the standard is you have to reveal them. You have to let them, the public know what's a potential conflict. I'm proud to say that after I followed the Hill administration into office, my very first meeting, I had a conflict because I'd been at a P&Z meeting that was being appealed there, and I had information the rest of them didn't. I recused and went outside. It's a judgment thing for each individual, but you let the rest of the board know it.
Thank you. Next to Ken Brennan, same question.
So a conflict of interest is any time that a public official is going to have personal gain from decisions that they make, and that has to be avoided at all costs. If you're in a situation where there is a possibility that you have a personal gain, then you have to recluse yourself from that decision making. And I'm going to give a good example. If the town decides to put up another wind turbine, I'm in the wind turbine business. All right, there's a good possibility I would have to recluse myself from that decision-making process and let the other commissioners make that decision.
Thank you. Ralph Hill, same question.
Yeah, it's definitely wrong to use your position to benefit yourself financially or any other way. We had a case back when Brad Hill was going to run the sewer up to Section 16 using bachelor draw, which have greatly benefited us. And I stepped back and tried not to exert any influence on him to benefit the Hillcrest subdivision.
Thank you. Same question to Jerry Powers.
I agree with the other candidates that it's any time that you would benefit personally, you should not have anything to do with that, not even discuss it. You should get up and leave the room. There were tremendous conflicts under the previous administration. I was astounded by John's answer because when the sewer line got diverted onto the Bassett property, he did not recuse himself. That's about as stark as it gets. So that has to be inviolate. It has to happen every time.
Thank you. Audrey Jaramillo, same question.
Okay, so under our state constitution, we cannot use public funds to benefit an individual or a private entity at all. Under Governmental Conduct Act, like you've heard already, it's direct or indirect financial gain for yourself or your family as well. You are supposed to recuse and not be involved in the process at all. I also have recused even when there's any appearance of a conflict of interest for myself, and if there was going to be infrastructure, I would want it furthest away from my family and my house as possible.
Thank you. Philandro Anaya, same question.
Conflict of interest is exactly what it means. If you have an interest in anything that's being decided, you walk away.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay, thank you everybody here for your patience, for staying pretty quiet during our forum. We appreciate that. The sound is not great in here, so thank you very much. We're on to our closing statement, after which we'll have a few thank yous, and then we'll break for a little bit more mingling. You'll be able to talk to the candidates before they take off. So we'd like you each to take a minute to give us your closing thoughts. And I'd like to ask you to, in particular, let us know what sets you apart from your fellow candidates. And I'm going to make a personal plea here that you keep your comments to your own vision and not to the past. So starting with Ken Brennan, go ahead.
When I decided to go ahead and do this, my wife and I were talking about the direction the town was going in, and we decided that we talked to each other, and I said that somebody has to come, get on the commission, has to work for the people. And my wife just looked at me and says, Ken, you're somebody. And that's when the decision was made for me to run. I want to work with the people. I want to work with the commission to make sure that things happen for Edgewood, to make this a better place for all of us. Civility is the most important thing. I've said this a few times. Being able to talk with each other on a civil tone, even though you agree or disagree. You have to be able to work together and not be constantly bickering at each other. A simple handshake, a smile, it's all it takes. And that's what I want to bring to the commission. So if you give me that opportunity, I am going to do my darndest to make sure that the civility is maintained within the commission and that I work with every single member of that commission.
Wow, that was, now all you guys have to land it right on the beep like he did. Ralph Hill.
Thank you for everybody for being here. I don't know, I've just seen this. My deal is I've been around forever. I've seen the town grow. I've seen 344 turn from a dirt road. During the 50s, you had to go around the dirt banks just to drive 344, how the town has grown. My father wanted to develop everything in 10-acre lots, and of course that wasn't rational. But I actually agree a lot with Ken, and I've said this before. If he gets elected, I'll be happy to support him. He's a wonderful. The only thing is he's young and I'm experienced, but he is a great manager. Yeah. Anyway. I'd like to see this town grow.
All right, thank you, Ralph. That's time. Jerry Powers.
I'm running unopposed, so I'm going to talk about everybody else. There are some really fine people up here on this dais, and I can work with them. And they mostly have the same philosophy I do, which is it should not be a top-down government. It should be the way it was designed to work, of the people, by the people, for the people. And that's when government really does the work of the people. The old administration doesn't have that philosophy. There is a race going on here that is really more about this hierarchical approach, where people just need to be silent and we'll do the work for you, we'll make the decisions. I don't believe in that kind of government. So I hope that you all will support the candidates that believe in open government. That's the best way that it really only way that it works, and that's our system in America. Thank you.
Thank you. Audrey Jaramillo.
Okay, as far as my vision, I know you guys have heard a lot of the points tonight already. You can also go to my website, audreyjaramillo.com, to see a little bit more on that. I really appreciate all of you being here this evening and taking your time to educate yourselves on the candidates and making an informed choice. And also the candidates up here willing to put in the hard work, because trust me, it's going to be hard work. And service to the public is, there's really not a lot of gain, a lot of sacrifice actually, and that's the way it should be. But it is very hard. And with my deep experience in government, I hope to help the transition come along from, the past into the future. And I will do my imperfect, because I'm definitely not perfect, but my imperfect best to serve you, the people.
All right, thank you very much. Philandro Anaya.
Repeat the question, please.
Sure, it's your closing statement. I'd like to know what sets you apart from your fellow candidates in particular.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you all for attending tonight. Thanks to the people that live in the imagined world out there on the internet for watching also. I decided to run for this seat merely because I do have a lot of experience. I have, again, like I've mentioned earlier, through the Board of Education, and 8 years through other entities that run the same type of government that we are faced with today. So I'm not going in it blind. I have way more experience than I would think almost anybody on this board or on this table. I know what I'm doing, and I know what you all want us to do. I understand the process, and I am here to work for you to help you get what you deserve.
All right, thank you. And last one is John Bassett.
Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to this forum. I hope you learned something. I want to thank Leota and the Independent and Linda and the Chamber for putting it on. I don't know, the League of Women Voters, I guess they bowed out, but anyway, I'm glad we went ahead with it. It's been informative for me. As far as what sets me apart, I believe it's my experience with the town of Edgewood government. Like I say, I go back to the very first meeting, all the way through. I know how it's got to be there, and with a brand new government coming in a new form, I think my experience and knowledge would be most helpful in making sure they get off to a good start. All the stuff they've talked about, civility and that, I'd love to see it and love to help them get busy working on the problems that are going to be coming up to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I want to put in a thank you here to the extreme amount of work that Linda Burke has put into this chamber. You guys, we have color-coded charts up here. I think it's the first forum we've ever done without losing track of whose question it was, and I know you put just a ton of work into this, so thank you very much.
I appreciate that. I might be a little OCD. So I do want to say thank you to all of the candidates for being here tonight and so graciously answering 20 different questions from the public on a variety of topics. This evening was recorded. You can watch on the Independent's Facebook page. You'll be able to see what they captured tonight. And the recording from Ryan Penfold will be on the Chamber's website probably within a day or so once it's uploaded. So we also want to remind everybody that the reason for this evening was about an election, and that we would like to encourage everyone to speak with your friends and neighbors to go out and vote. And as far as voting, the polling place here in Edgewood is at the town hall. And you can do early voting, which is going on now, Tuesdays through Fridays from 12 to 8 p.m., or on Saturdays from 10 to 6, now through October 30th. And Election Day is on November 2nd, and you can vote between 7 and 7 in person at that time. So I do want to say thank you to everybody who came tonight, who submitted questions, who made this a very successful forum. You will have time to meet with the candidates individually if you'd like to. So again, please be respectful of their time so they can talk to as many people as possible. And thank you all for coming. Thanks, Leota, for having the Independent record.